Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Bash Harry. This is the Harry Knit. We do a lot of knitting craft content here, and that's what I'm doing today. We're talking a little bit about the last video I posted, which was about my first ever market and how it flopped. I don't know if people still use the word flop, but I feel like it flopped, but I'm trying to see the positives of it. And I thought it would be a good way for me to just sit down and talk about what I think went well, what I think went wrong, and how these things that I learned could help you, especially if you're getting into markets and learning how to be a vendor. This video hopefully won't be a long one, but I am going to be knitting while I chat, because videos like this, I'm like, you know what, I can knit while I'm working on this video anyway. If I'm yapping, I'm also knitting. I'm currently wearing the Awan Vest by Irene Lynn, I think. This is something I wanted to show you. I've made this back in 2021, and this is still like my most worn piece that I've ever knitted. I love the cables, I love the details, and originally this is recommended with Aran weight yarn. Definitely thicker, but I actually use sport weight. This is Ali's Cotton Batik, I think, which is a Turkish brand. It's 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and it's sport weight. So I definitely use much smaller, finer yarn and thick needles to make this. So it's something that I can wear a lot more easily than like an Aran weight yarn. And I actually still absolutely love this sweater vest. It's like one of my favorite pieces ever. But enough talking. I am also working up my ranunculus. If you saw in the previous podcast, this one, I'm basically almost done with the body. I put a lifeline in because I'm going to be doing a folded hem because I like the look of it. It's almost done. I did the sleeves, I think, a few days ago, just a short sleeve, but if I have enough yarn after doing the rolled or like the hemline, then I'll probably add some more length to the sleeve. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying this process a lot. I'm hopefully going to be finished with this, I want to say, by today or tomorrow. So I have more things to talk about in the podcast end of this month, but I'm really excited to finish it up. You know, it's one of those things where I really love knitting and I love talking about knits, especially knits that I can wear out in the summertime, which is something that I always love. I never really thought knitting was appropriate for summertime, but that's not true. You just have to accommodate and just kind of figure it out, which is why this is made out of, I believe, 85% merino, 15% cotton. So it'll be perfect for the weather that we're having right now. It was raining, I think an hour ago, it was raining really heavily when we woke up, but now it's a bright, shiny, sunny day and a good time to make this video, because hopefully, you know, we have a good time just chatting about what happened during my very first vendor market. I wanted to make this video. I knew I was going to make it regardless of if the pop-up went well or not, because I knew that I wanted to reflect back on my thoughts on how the pop-up went and maybe some lessons I could learn for the next pop-up, because that was my first pop-up back in August. It is now October when I'm filming this video. The circumstances of the pop-up, I think, definitely influenced the way that I felt. I only confirmed that I was doing that pop-up, I think, 2 weeks before. I was also very sick and quite tired, if I'll be honest. It's been about 2 months since that, so I can at least look at it in hindsight and think about the ways that I can improve for the next one that I'm co-organizing. So I'm co-organizing a crafters market this upcoming November, the first week of November, and seeing what works, what didn't, and how I can make it better for the people that I'm also helping set up their booths at my own crafters market. So tangentially, all things considered, yada, 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 let's just talk about the market. So let's start off with the market day itself. It was a 2-day market, and it in conjunction with Belia Day, which means Youth Day in Bahasa Melayu Brunei. And it was supposed to support small businesses by the youths, and it was at the National Stadium. I think it's like a new venue area at the stadium. It was a whole mix of people. The vendor fee was only about $30. I came in with the expectation that if we made money, that would be great. My main goal was to cover the cost of the vendor fee and to cover the cost of my friend who was helping me set up the booth. So I was also paying her to be there hourly, just because I knew I was sick and I had work the next day, or I couldn't be there for the rest of the day. I wanted to pay her, make sure that she is sorted out. So that was my main goal, cover the fees and help pay for labor. What I didn't realize about the venue was that it was a little hard to find. I went there a week before to visit my friend who owns a coffee pop-up. So she's opening a cafe. So I went to visit her at her pop-up booth, and it was quite crowded, I would say. It was a good number of people. I went on the Sunday, the day of my birthday, just to check it out. It looked really fun. A lot of people were there. And so I went to see how it was. There were quite a lot of foot traffic, a lot of families, a lot of kids, because there was also an area specifically for kids. Like there was a bouncer, there was face painting for kids. So it was that sort of vibe, and it was under the National Stadium, like I said. But the venue itself was a little hard to get. It wasn't a road, it wasn't a shopping mall. If you wanted to go to the pop-up, you had to actively go to the stadium, basically, and you actively had to go and check it out. I know some people went after like jogging or playing tennis because it's quite close to the tennis area. So I kept that in mind when I was setting up the booth. I knew there were going to be a lot of kids, so I created the booth based on the assumption that there were going to be a lot of kids who wanted to play. And I don't know if devised is the word, but I did create an area to teach people how to use the Centro knitting machine and to make like cat plushies. Because I thought at the time a lot of kids would want a plushie, or they would like to learn how to make it. So I set everything up into a U shape, I believe, the first time, because I was also watching a lot of YouTube videos that were saying that, it encourages people to go inside the booth and just to look around. More on that later. I really liked the vibe of the booth. I was quite proud of it, if I'll be honest. I was like, ooh, this looks so nice. It looks so pretty and aesthetic. I bought like a table banner. I got like my pegboard from home. This one, I don't know, it's off screen, but it's there. I brought it. I set everything up to look nice, and I made a lot of trinkets to sell. I also was showing some of the sample pieces because I knew that some people may not want anything there that I was selling. Maybe it wasn't what they wanted, because I was selling like hats and bandanas and like keychains and coasters. But if they wanted like an actual piece, they had my business card, they had my information, they could reach out, and the samples were just stuff that I was showcasing to show people that, hey, I can actually make some custom things. So I was really excited to do it. I was really excited to sit down and just chat with people. And so the day officially started at around 3 p.m. So I was there right after my DJ set. And that, I think, was the first issue, was that it started at an odd time, which is 3 p.m. until 10 p.m. I think they wanted to cover the crowd that wasn't working that day. At 3 p.m., that's a pretty late start, in my opinion. I think I would have preferred if it started at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., but that's just my personal preference. And as well as the first day was so quiet. I think it was not a lot of people, and very few actually looked at my booth. And to note, I was not situated in a place that I thought was the most logistically sound. So if I'm right here, the booth next to me was a cafe that was super loud because, they're making coffee, that's fair. And the one next to me on the other side was a lok vendor. Lok is food. It is really nice local Southeast Asian food. It's delicious. I love it. But to be situated as a craft vendor between two F&Bs, I would say was not the most logistically sound to do promotion about craft work. So when people were passing my booth, they would scan it, but they'd go straight to the lok vendors, or they'd go straight to the coffee. It wasn't like a very natural movement for people, and that was not up to me. If I had a choice, I'd probably be next to like other craft vendors, but there weren't actually a lot of craft vendors. It was majority F&Bs. I think about 80 to 90% were actually food vendors. Sorry, there's some itching going on. And then like the 10% was actual like things. Most of the clothes or apparels or accessories were there by commission. So they would have an area right in the middle that sold things by commission, and they would take 20%, which was an option for me as well, but I didn't quite like that because I have no say in the sales and I can't view it objectively. I like knowing how things are going. I like talking to people, especially during events like these. So having it by commission on sale racks was not going to work for me personally. So the first day, I think we only made about 2 sales. I think it was only about 2 sales, $30, even $15. I think we sold a pack of stickers and some scrunchies. So we made about $15 to $30. We were a little bit disheartened. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit sad about the amount we sold the next day, but I wasn't going to give up. The next day, me and the husband redid the whole booth setup. So I thought, why not just showcase everything front and center so people would actually like be able to see it? Because I also think some people were scared to go in. I don't know about you, but I think we are very shy people. Bruneians are quite shy. There were people that were like just like in the premises, in the vibes of the booth. They were like, ooh, nice. And then they just walk away. And that happens a lot. I was like, oh, it's sales, come on. It was really strange for me to experience that. I've never worked sales like that. I have been like a cashier to help out with my cousin's booth when they were selling food. I remember I used to do that. But I think because it was my first time opening a booth and it was my own stuff, I was feeling very disheartened. But on the second day when we did the new sort of vendor layout, I think we had a lot more sales because people were actually looking at our stuff. Like it was right in front and center, which I think was a good thing. One thing that I wish I did a lot more was maybe try and get more people to buy my stuff. Like there were a lot of people who were interested in the fact that I knitted. Like they would be talking about, oh, you knit? Oh, that's so cool. Do you crochet? Da 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 da. How much is this piece? How much is that piece? But they wouldn't purchase anything, which is all right. I think that's fine. They got my business cards and they're interested in commissions and all that kind of stuff. But like the actual things that were for sale, I think were not of practical use. Yes, they were coasters and they were keychains, but you can get any old keychain or coaster and that's completely fine. I'm not going to be annoyed about the fact that I did not get people to buy my products. They have the choice of it. I just wish there were more people going through with traffic that maybe we would able to, have more sales potentially. But it's one of those things where the crowd wasn't the type who would be buying crafts. It was 90% F&B, so the people who did come to the install event was likely going to be people who wanted to buy F&B, food and beverages. And with that in mind, I wrapped up the second day with a lot more sales, but that was because it was a Saturday, I think, and there were a lot more people available. We had a lot more sales in the afternoon and evenings, the late evenings. It was also heavy rain. I think if you watch the video that I posted last week about the market prep, there was really heavy thunderstorms. And because the area that we were at the National Stadium was not roofed, the car park, you had to kind of go inside to get roofed. I can see why people would not want to go there at the risk of heavy rain and thunderstorms. So weather was an issue that caused the low traffic. And then we also just honestly did not have the best of times. I think there was a long period, I think it was like 2 hours, where I was just sitting there and I was knitting because there was nobody in the area except for myself and the other vendors. And I was talking to some of them and I was like, oh, how's business? How's the sales going? And they said, oh, it's okay, really slow. And there was also a lot of other events happening around the same time. There were people that were selling other things in different areas of the country. Like, I think the planner market was happening the same day, the planners market, and the Borneo custom show, which was about cars. I can say there's 4 main reasons why the market didn't turn out the way that I did. Was 1, it was a quiet atmosphere and quite low foot traffic because of where the venue was situated. 2, that impacted our sales and our engagement. There was a lot more people who were interested in like talking to us and like teaching knitting classes, which I think is a win, but still. And 3, there was a mismatch between what I was selling, which was crafts, and the audience. The audience was more likely going to choose F&Bs than actual crafts, and that's totally okay. That was, on my part, my issue, and I should have known that in hindsight or in foresight. So where am I going with this? Now that I know this sort of stuff, I can think about how can I improve for the next market that I plan on doing. So I have a few things here on my laptop, and the first one is to do a lot more research about the markets. I should have done a lot more research about what kind of vendor place I was getting into. It was not the same type of audience I was looking for, and that's totally okay. I think I should have known that the market was more catered to people who are interested in F&B, and next time I should look for a market that is specifically for crafts, which is the one that I'm doing next month. The second thing that I want to talk about what went wrong was my budget. I did cover the cost of my vendor fee, which was $30, and paying for the labor of the shop assistant. So that was good, but in total I made a loss because there were still some things that I had to print on the back end, like posters and flyers, the table banner, additional business cards. These things accumulated and we operated at a loss because that wasn't covered, the assets basically. And so if I had to do it again, honestly, I'd probably still purchase the same stuff because those things can be reused for the next market, which means the cost would be much lower, hopefully. And then another thing that I think I would have taken a lot more lessons on was sales and interaction. I know I said I was chatting with people, but I was talking about it with my friend who was making the coffees. She was selling them. She is such a chatter. She knows how to do it so well. And she was like, just giving me tips on how to sell, being like, oh, I love your skirt. It's so pink. You know what would match? These coasters. Like, that was an example that she told me to do for people. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that. It was not something that's ingrained with me. It's not like a skill that I've learned to master yet, but I do think I should try to create more conversations about people and connecting that to the stuff that I was selling. I think that was a good tip that my friend shared with me, and I hope in the next market I'm able to include that in any future projects or markets that I might have, just to create more conversations. And the next thing that the market taught me was to adapt. I knew that even though I really loved the way that my booth was spread out with the U shape, it didn't encourage people to go inside and look around. And the fact that I adapted the next day and moved everything that I was selling to the very front, and all the Centro knitting machines and my samples stayed in the corner, it made a lot more people purchase the items that I was actually selling. And so I think that was good, all things around. This is the section where I'm talking about how much I sold and how much I made. I sold, I think, 1 Ahad bag, a handful of scrunchies, handful of coasters, and 3 mushroom keychains. All in all, that was a total of $91 in sales, minus the $30 for the vendor fee, minus about $30 as a shop assistant, minus $10 for paying for her food and drinks. All in all, that left us with about $40 of profit that also was taken away because of the table banner and other assets, which I think was pretty okay. I think that is fine. We made a net loss of, I think, about $120, but those things can be used in the future again for the next market. So that was the financial aspects of the market, but I don't want to end it on like a negative note. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. There were still some good things that happened at the market. Particularly, I think it can only get better from here. No matter if it's a slow market, I think it encourages me to learn and be better for the next one, to promote a lot more, to try my hand out in different things, and knowing what the audience intended to. Because now I know that maybe not a lot of people want to do the Centro knitting machine plushie section, so that's okay. I could probably just do that as a class. A lot of people really like the mushroom keychains. I'll probably make more of those. I can make more scrunchies. I probably won't show my sample knits, and they could just always check it out on my Instagram. So these are just some stuff that I'm thinking about as a way to learn and be better as a knitter, as a small business, and just to help myself out, and ways that I can improve on the business. I won't say like I had a negative experience. I don't think that it was a negative thing all around. I might have felt a little sad at the moment, but now that I've got 2 months to think about it, I don't necessarily think it was such a terrible experience that I would never want to do it again. I'm doing another pop-up this November at the Crafters Market, and it is one that I'm co-organizing. So, I'm actually organizing this one. So it'll be really fun. I get to hang out with a lot more cool vendors, and I'm prioritizing making sure that the people, the small businesses that we're helping out do make sales. We do have a booth for that, but like I said, I'll probably be prioritizing making sure everyone else does a great job rather than my own little booth. Is there anything that I want to add on? I don't think so. And I think this video has gone long enough. It's like 28 minutes over me yapping about, things happen. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching me. If you did, you're more than welcome to leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any tips on how to help like improve for the next market, that would be such great help. I would appreciate it so much. But yeah, I think that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Bash Harry. This is the Harry Knit, and I will see you guys later. Bye!